Hello, this is the lesson to introduce the Happy Birthday Project. So the body of your Happy Birthday is the actual melody, Happy Birthday, in the key of C, in the key of G, F, and D, and the melody starts on the fifth of the scale. And so you're going to be playing the melody by ear and creating a left hand accompaniment. In addition to that, you're going to create an opening, an introduction, and an ending. So let's talk about the tools that you have that we've been playing the whole semester. So what you want to do is create an introduction using page 16. So you have the key of C, your scale, and the inversion, root position, first inversion, second inversion, G major, D major, and then F major is not listed here, but let's take a look at your Black Book, Level 2, page 93. Page 93 has the F major scale on top, and so you have your scale and your chord progression. And so you know that the one chord, you play it in root position, and then you change it to first inversion and second inversion. Okay, so there you go with that one. And page 17, we have your scale and your chord progression. And we just talked about how this one is C major, G major, D major, and in your Black Book Level 2, page 93 is your F major. So that's one idea. Then you have page 18 and page 19. So page 18 has the chord progression in your right hand and the scale in your left hand. Page 19 has the scale in the right hand and the chord progression in your left hand. And this is both used for C major. Let's take a look at page 20. We worked on page 20 a lot, and we worked on the concept of transposing on page 20. So let's take a look at page 20. So the top works well as an introduction, and then you move on to the body of your song, Happy Birthday. So you play happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. And you finish with this as your ending. Okay, and then here you will play a 5/7 chord to move into the next key. Here we have G major. Okay, and so you play this as your introduction. You play your happy birthday melody in the key of G, and then happy birthday to you, and you finish using this part on the ending. And then you play your 5/7 chord of the new key, and in this case it's D major. And so you play your 5/7 chord, and now you play this as your introduction. You play your happy birthday melody, and you're finished now with the melody, happy birthday to you, and this is your ending. And then here your 5/7 chord, and now you're in the key of F. And so you play this as your opening, you play your happy birthday, and then you come back to this, and this is your final. You have finished now, and this is the end. Now let's talk about the 5/7 chord. Okay, the 5/7 chord. Let's take a look at your Black Book Level 1. And here's your Black Book Level 1. And let's take a look at page 16. And here's your 5/7 chord with the fingerings. And so this is your chord that you would use to go into your key of C. Alrighty, so now let's take a look at page 34. All right, 34 is the key of G. Alrighty, so here you have your chords in the key of G, and there is your 5/7 chord. And so G major has an F sharp in the key signature, so make sure you play F sharp in the bottom note. And so just because the chord progression is here means that's not the chord progression that you're going to play in this succession for your happy birthday. You must choose the correct note. So if it has a G, you will have the G chord. If it has a C, you will have a C chord. If it has an F sharp, you will have the 5/7 chord, etc. Make sure you choose the correct chord for the sound that you're hearing. Let's move on to page 40. Here's the key of F, and here is the chord with the fingering. 5/7 chord. Key of F has a B flat. Make sure you're playing B flat in the 5/7 chord. And finally, the key of D is on page 72. And here's your chord progression for the key of D. Key of D has F sharp and C sharp. So make sure your 5/7 chord has a C sharp in the bottom note. Alrighty, so there's your 5/7 chord. Alrighty, so the next idea that you have for your introduction is page 22, the arpeggios. So this is a nice idea for C, G, D, and F isn't written here, but you know you can play F in the same style as the other arpeggios that are listed here. And next is the thirds, page 37 in your syllabus. So you can play this for the key of C. This is a good introduction. Alrighty, so that's page 37. Now let's move on to the augmented triads. We are now in your Black Book again, level 2. Alrighty, Black Book level 2, page 70. And so you can play any of these augmented chords, C, G, F, and D as an introduction, just that much. But I think this is a much nicer introduction, this whole little etude. And then you move into your happy birthday in the key of C. Alrighty, now let's talk about diminished, page 72 in your Black Book level 2. And so you have C minor, G minor, F minor, and D minor. But I would not recommend you use these as an introduction. Alrighty, but this little etude, yes, this works very, very nice. And so you can play this as an introduction. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later on in the video. And number 9 is the chromatic scales. So you have your white book. We use this one, scales, chords, arpeggios, and cadences. And right now we are on page 63. Alrighty, so this is good for C major. We worked on the first one, the third one, and the fourth one. These are good for C major. Now let's take a look at the handouts that I've given you. Alrighty, so the first one is good for the key of D because it starts and ends on a D, as well as this second line. Okay, it's the key of D. This measure right here works good for the key of G. Just that measure, that's it. And this measure works well for the key of F. And any of these work good for D because they all start and end on the D. This one's good for D, this one's good for C. Alrighty, so that works well all for your chromatics. Now let's take a look at accidentals. If you will please turn to your Black Book, level 1, page 29. And this one explains the rule about accidentals. Accidentals are signs which temporarily alter the pitch of the notes. The effect of the accidental sign lasts only within the measure they appear. So let's go back to your diminished triads in your Black Book level 2, page 72. So here they list these notes: C, E flat, G. The next chord, the rule is the accidental continues for the whole measure. C, E flat, G flat. So similarly here, the accidentals continue. C, E flat, G flat. And the last chord, C, E flat, G natural, because we have a new accidental. So the bar line cancels what came before it, and now in the next measure you have new accidentals. Okay, so the rule is the accidental stays for that measure, but it ends now because you have a new bar line. Okay, so make sure that you take note of that on your diminished triads and make it your own. The Happy Birthday Project is your own. You make it sound the way you like it using the tools in your introduction, and then when you get to your ending, use the same tools 1 through 10 that you used to create the introduction. Okay, I look forward to hearing your project and enjoy.